Welcome to AcquaTalks Online. Today's talk is on success and how to achieve it. Let me start by sharing these inspiring words to remind us all that success is possible. Don't be afraid to give up the good to go for the great. That was said by John D. Rockefeller. And from Oprah Winfrey, one of my favorites, the greatest discovery of all time is that a person can change his future by merely changing his attitude. And this was said by Benjamin Franklin. Without continual growth and progress, such words as improvement, achievement, and success have no meaning. My name is Alexandra Wensley, your host for AcquaTalks Online, hosted by the Estates at Aquilina, the world's finest residences located in Miami's Sunny Isles Beach, where it's all about the living experience. Are you ready to gear up for success? The creator of the Power Habits for Ultimate Success, Noah St. John, believes that success is achieved when you master your inner game and outer game of success. Today, Noah will talk with all of us about the missing piece to abundance, health, wealth, love, and happiness. Noah is known as the Millionaire Habits Coach and is founder of SuccessClinic.com, a global peak performance and business growth company. Working with top CEOs and individuals since 1997, Noah's clients have added more than $2.7 billion in sales by following his legendary methods. Noah has published 15 books, that's right, 15 in 18 languages. It's so impressive. He's internationally recognized for his signature coaching services, facilitating workshops at companies and institutions across the globe, and appearing in more than 1,000 media outlets, including ABC, NBC, Fox, NPR, and much more. Noah also invented affirmations, a new technology of the mind, and helping busy people enjoy more wealth, health, and happiness with less time. Joining us from Ohio, please help me welcome the charismatic Noah St. John. Hello, Noah.
Hi, Alex. Great to be here with you today. It's such an honor and a privilege. So I'm thrilled to be here today with all of you. So thank you very much. And I'm going to kick it off with just a very, very quick video. And I'm going to share my screen here.
Okay, before you do, I just want to let everyone know we're recording this session. You can find it after on the Estates at Aquilina's social pages, Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. So you can share it with your friends and rewatch it anytime you want. I'll also be coming back at the end for a Q&A with Noah. So please put your questions in the chat. We'll address them. And then also one big important thing is that we're giving away a coaching session, a private coaching session with Noah. So please stay to the end so you can see if you won. So now over to you, Noah.
All right. Thank you very much, Alex. All right. I'm sharing my screen now. And here's just a real quick video for you to enjoy.
We're sitting down with Noah St. John, the author of Affirmations, The Miracle of Positive Self-Talk.
Noah St. John is an author and an expert who is here with us this morning. Here to explain is author and behavior expert Noah St. John.
Joining us now is Noah St. John, the author of The Secret Code of Success.
That's according to Noah St. John, author of the book of Affirmation.
Money acts as a magnifying glass. Okay, money doesn't change anything. It reveals everything.
Such good advice.
Smart.
He's extremely present with the people in the room. Like he really, really wants to be conscious of them, their energy, their questions,
how he connects with them. He absolutely brings something totally different to the table. He does fill in those missing pieces. And with Noah, you actually have a formula, you have a plan.
You see just light bulb moments after light bulb moments for people, and things that have haunted people for years and years. It just comes up, and they're able to literally transform their life with that one nugget.
This is the formula that has produced over $100 million in new revenues for my clients over the last few years. It does make your success as automatic as brushing your teeth and tying your shoes. Those are habits.
Before you even realize it, he's taught you how to make more money, and you don't even realize how it happened.
Noah's really funny. He's exciting to listen to. He's got great perspective. He knows his stuff.
Noah has a very unique quality and ability to simplify things and make them seem so easily accessible that anybody can do it.
He seems to be the best that I've seen at taking these essential elements of what you need to do to improve yourself and simplifying. He seems to be the easy button.
What does it take to succeed? If we know now our goal is a life of stress-free abundance, and that means getting to heaven on earth, doing those high-value activities that we love and are great at. So what does it take then? It takes this. This formula is responsible for adding over $100 million in new revenues for our clients. 5, 6, 7, and 8-figure advances, increases in income. Men and women just like you who had spent tens of thousands of dollars on everything else out there. And we're still stuck. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill in the gaps for you.
All right, so we're going to fill in those gaps for you today, and let's kick it off right now. All right, so I'm going to go now to my slides here, and there we are. All right, so friends, those of you who are here and those of you who are watching, so by the time this timer runs out, I'm going to be showing you my power habits for ultimate success, how I help Hollywood celebrities, 8-figure CEOs, and entrepreneurs achieve elite performance without the stress, motivation, or even willpower. So I hope that sounds good to you. If it does sound good, just type 1 in the chat if you are excited. All right. So who likes free? I hope you like free because I've got special, some free gifts for you today because you're here and because I value your time. And so here's your first free gift. All you have to do is text the word GIFT, G-I-F-T, to this number you see on your screen, 330-752-1593. I have a special free gift for you, for those of you who would like to join me in this special free gift. It's a free training that I did recently for my mastermind group. So that is that right there, gift to 330-752-1593. So how many of you would like to have more time so you can enjoy the fruits of all of your hard work? And would you like to stop procrastinating so you can actually get more done without having to use willpower? And would you like to discover the power habits that I teach Hollywood celebrities, 8-figure CEOs, and pro athletes that I coached over the last 2 decades? Well, if so, you're in the right place. And I just want you to meet Bill. He's one of my clients. He's a real estate professional like many of you are. And he had a dream. He was sitting right where you are. He had been working really hard and he was seeing some success, but not really the level of success that he truly wanted. All right. So he spent a lot of money going to a lot of seminars for many, many years. And he was doing okay, doing well, but he really knew he could do much more. So now today I want to teach you in the time that I have my 4 secrets of power habits. So the first is power habits revealed. Why are they the fastest, best way you can reach your goals twice as fast with half the effort. Then secret number 2 is called power habits cloning. How anyone can have better habits, even if you don't believe in yourself, even if you don't know where to start, and even if you failed in the past. Then power habits acceleration, how to reach your life and business goals twice as fast with half the effort. And you know what? It works for health and wellness too, if you'd like to have more health and more wellness, and who wouldn't? And finally, power habits transformation, how to turn today's information into lasting transformation. So I hope that sounds good to you. That's our agenda. So we have a 2021 pandemic update. As we all know, the pandemic is starting to wind down with the with the vaccine and everything. So, you've heard the quote, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Well, for my company and for me personally, 2020, 2021 has been really the best of times because we just moved into a 7,000 square foot mansion here in Northeast Ohio. We're about 10 minutes from the Professional Football Hall of Fame. And, so for us, we are enjoying what we would call the best of times. And yet, a lot of people, a lot of brands, a lot of iconic brands, billion-dollar, multi-million-dollar brands are seeing the worst of times because they were not able to pivot from Gold's Gym to JCPenney, Chuck E. Cheese, GNC. I mean, huge brands that, declared bankruptcy. So, I am Noah St. John, as Alex mentioned. I have written over 15 books that are in 18 languages. These are a few of my books here, and some of them in different languages there. And I'm known for coaching 7- and 8-figure company CEOs, athletes, executives, and entrepreneurs around the world. These are a few of the places that I've spoken at or consulted for. I'm very privileged to have people like Gary Vaynerchuk and John Assaraf, Stephen Covey, Jenny McCarthy, who endorse my work. But here's what a lot of people don't know. I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood, and I know that's a total cliche, but I grew up in a little town called Kennebunkport, Maine, which just happens to be one of the wealthiest communities in New England. But my family was dirt poor, and I mean that literally, because as you can see from this picture, we lived at the bottom of a dirt road in a drafty, unfinished house that my parents ended up losing to foreclosure. So from a very young age, I was painfully exposed to the gap, the chasm between the haves and the have-nots. The haves was everyone else in the community. The have-nots was my family. So I hated that life of poverty and fear and lack, not enoughness. That's what I grew up with in my family. But yet I saw right down the street there was great wealth and abundance. So I went on a long journey to discover what I call the secrets of success. And then many years later, in 1997, I launched my company, SuccessClinic.com, in a 300 square foot basement apartment with $800 to my name and a book on HTML. And this is one of the first checks that I ever received. And in those days, you couldn't even take credit cards. People would have to send me a check, and I would send them, my books or programs or whatever. So I had no money. I had no experience. I didn't know anything about marketing or sales. There was no social media, no YouTube, no nothing. But I just had one thing, which was a dream and a deep burning desire to help people and to make a difference all around the world. So because I didn't really know what I was doing, I didn't have any experience or knowledge, I spent over $250,000 on all the gurus out there. I'm sure, we all know the gurus out there, all those well-known people that's, get a lot of hype out there, but unfortunately they really suck at teaching. They can't teach their way out of a paper bag. So unfortunately I took a lot of bad advice, and I ended up 10 years later in 2007, $40,000 in debt, and ended up working out of my parents' basement. So I was very frustrated. I was very, angry, resentful, but I realized something at that very low point in my life, which is that, if you keep doing the same thing, what are you going to get? The same results, right? We all know the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different result. I also remembered this one quote that says, everything you desire is on the other side of fear. So that's when I made the one decision that changed everything, when I hired my first real business coach. Now, I didn't have the money to do it. I couldn't afford it. But what I realized is that when you find the why, when your why too is strong enough, you find the way. When you find the why, you find the way. And so I made that one decision. It changed everything. And that's when everything changed for me. In literally less than 24 months, I became a best-selling author. I met my beautiful wife, Babette. This is us on the beach in Barbados. So I literally went from basement to bestseller to Barbados in less than 24 months using the system that I'll be sharing with you today. And then, of course, as Alex mentioned, we've helped our clients at over $2 billion in sales since that time. So what does this mean for you? What it means for you is this. If it worked for me, it can work for you too. And I'll show you how. All right. So let's go right now to secret number one. All right. So here we are here. Our clock is ticking. So why power habits are the fastest, best way you can reach your goals twice as fast with half the effort. All right. So what I often ask our clients, whether at my live events or virtual events like this one, or even in our private workshops or group trainings, I ask, what do you want? That's a great place to start, isn't it? Right. So more people say, well, I want more control. I want more free time. I want more money. I want more vibrant health. I want happier relationships, greater satisfaction at work, and to become part of the top 3 or 2 or 1% or 0.1% who are growing their business and also having that fulfillment right now. And so, well, those are the things you want, right? So I often ask, well, then what have you tried so far? A lot of people say, well, I've tried a lot of shelf help, right? Do you have any shelf help at home? Not self-help, these are some self-help books, but maybe you got shelf help, meaning you buy a book or you buy a program, maybe an online course or something, and then you go, yeah, I'll get to that later. And then you put it on the shelf and you, of course, never get around to it. We've all done that, right? Attending personal growth seminars, programs, following the gurus, maybe diets and goals, vision boards, positive thinking, even using affirmations, right? We've probably tried all these things, right? I'm assuming. So, of course, you've tried all this, so you have everything you want, right? And people go, Huh? What? No, not really. Okay. So the fact is that if you're not as successful as you want, ironically, there's really only two possible reasons for that. There's not like a million reasons, or not even 10 reasons. There's really only two. And that is this. So either you don't have a proven blueprint for success, and I'll be talking about that in a moment, what that means, or you may be unconsciously holding yourself back from the success you're capable of, which millions and millions of people are actually doing that without their knowledge, right? So here's what this means for you. Now, as Alex mentioned, what I'm known for is teaching the inner game and outer game of success. All right. So the inner game is everything that happens between your ears that you can't see directly, but it affects everything that you do. So whether I'm in my private workshops or my live events or virtual events, or even one-on-one or group coaching, I often say to my audience members, my attendees, I'll say, what is one area of your life where your beliefs don't affect you? And people go, and I say, exactly. There's no place your beliefs don't affect you, right? Your beliefs affect your health, right? Your well-being, your wellness, your stress level, whether it's high or low. Your beliefs affect your finances, your business, your career, your relationships. There's no place your beliefs don't affect you. And yet you can't see a belief. You can only see the effects of a belief, right? And so notice that you can be doing really well in one area. For example, we have clients, people who hire me and they say, no, I'm making millions of dollars, but why am I not happy? I thought when I made all this money, I'd be really happy. And why am I not fulfilled? See, so that's part of that inner game process. And then we also have the outer game, which of course is your habits, lifestyle, systems, and strategies. That's the stuff you can see. All right. So those are all the things you can see. They're right there in front of you. But it's only when you master your inner game and outer game, those two things that you see on your screen here, that you have the phenomenon called success. So I've literally made millions of dollars helping my clients master their inner game and outer game. And as a result, my clients have made billions of dollars. Okay. So this is what we call now my freedom lifestyle formula. All right. So this is what we really work with our clients on and what I want to share with you today. All right. So the freedom lifestyle, the way that I teach it, I've been teaching for over 2 decades now, it is 4 elements: time, energy, relationships, and money. So when you have an abundance of those 4 things, time, energy, relationships, and money, you have what's called, or what we like to call, a freedom lifestyle or abundant lifestyle, or whatever you want to call it. But it's basically meaning you're happy, you're fulfilled, and you have the things that really everybody wants. All right. So if you think about it, well, we're actually going to do a quick exercise here. So I'd love it if you would participate in this. I have some engagement here because I have a couple of exercises that I think will really help you if you would like to do them. All right. So what I like to do is kind of what I call take your temperature. In fact, I call it taking your freedom temperature. So looking at those 4 elements that I just showed you, we go through these steps. So I would invite you to do this right now and encourage you to do it. You can share it on the chat or you can just do it for yourself. But basically, I want you to take your temperature with time. So in other words, my business and personal life are balanced. My free time is totally free from the business, and I have enough scheduled and protected focused time to work with my best opportunities. Now, rate yourself a 10 if you totally agree with that statement. Rate yourself a 1 if you totally disagree with that statement. All right. And if it's somewhere between 1 and 10. All right. So that's time freedom. How free or how abundant do you feel in the area of time, right? Your free business and personal life are balanced and free time is free from the business. Okay. So that is time freedom. Now let's look at energy freedom. Energy is I'm freed up to work on only what I'm good at and love to do, and freed from the things I'm not good at and dislike doing. All right. So think about this. If you're constantly doing things you don't really love and aren't even great at, how's your energy going to be? It's probably going to be pretty low, right? So if you totally agree with this statement, give yourself a 10. If you totally disagree with this statement, then rate yourself a 1, and of course, if it's somewhere in the middle, somewhere between 1 and 10. All right. So that's your energy freedom. Energy is how we go through our day, how we go through our life is that quadrant of energy. All right. Then third is relationship freedom. So this would be the statement. I'm leveraged by my team to work only with my best clients and top opportunities. Okay, so that's your relationship freedom. Rate yourself a 10 if you totally agree with this statement, and a 1 if you totally disagree. And of course, somewhere between 1 and 10 if you are somewhere in the middle, right? So having those relationships that make life fulfilling. If you have millions and millions of dollars and no one to enjoy it with, that's not much of, of a life really, is it? And certainly not really that freedom or happiness or fulfillment that we're looking for. And finally, money, right? So money is very important. And so you would, the statement here, my company's profitability gives us room to invest our growth or in our growth and in our team. So 10, if you totally agree, and 1 if you totally disagree, or somewhere in the middle there. All right, so that's how free you feel in the area of money. All right, so you should have 4 numbers right now from 1 to 10 in each of the areas of time, energy, relationships, and money. Okay, so I'll give you just a few moments there. Now, what I'd like you to do is total up your score right now. Total up your score. So you should have a number between 4 and 40. All right, so 4, you gave yourself a 1 in all areas. So 40 would be you gave yourself a 10 in all areas. All right, so just if you want to share that in the chat, that number, your total score, or just circle it on your notes or whatever note-taking device you're using. And this is a great way, friends, to see how you're doing in your life, in your area, or what we call the freedom lifestyle or abundant lifestyle or happiness or fulfillment. Again, whatever you want to call it, we just call it the freedom lifestyle. Okay, so now when you have that score, here is another exercise you can do right now, just take you a few moments here. And these are what we call the freedom from and freedom to lists. Freedom from and freedom to. Now, what does that mean? Well, everybody that I've ever worked with, every client I've ever spoken with or worked with, wants freedom from certain things and freedom to do other things. In other words, what you want freedom from is the things that you're doing that you don't just love, right? And don't fill you up, giving you that energy that I spoke about. Things like day-to-day operations, these are just examples. Managing clients' files, being chained to email, managing your team, trying to do everything by myself, right? Again, these are just examples. What do you want freedom from? And then what do you want the freedom to? Right? So you want the freedom to create, innovate, invest in new technologies, establish new partnerships, learn new things, participate in mastermind groups, work less and just enjoy life more, right? Wouldn't that be awesome? Or, to find that passion, that purpose, that happiness, right? The freedom to do those things. So again, I just invite you to take 30 seconds and really write your freedom from and freedom to list. They are very, very instructive. And this is one of the places that we start with our clients. So a very, very powerful, very simple, but very powerful exercise right there. Okay. All right. So friends, really the reality is if you want more freedom from the things that you want to have freedom from and want more freedom to do the things you want freedom to do, all you really need are these 3 things. Number 1, you need the right plan. That is, what are you going to do? What is the plan? It's kind of like building a house, right? Many of you are, of course, in the real estate industry, you know about houses and buildings and things like that. So you're very familiar with this analogy, right? So that's what to do. That's the right plan. Then you need the right tools. That's how are you going to build your house, right? How are you going to actually do it? The skills and the tools that you need. And then the third thing you need is the right support. You need the right person or people in your corner, the people who believe in you, even when maybe you don't even believe in yourself sometimes. A lot of times when I work with clients, that's one of the biggest things is that people just don't think they can do it. They don't believe in themselves, which is something we'll talk about more in just a few moments. So really here they are right here. We call them the 3 pillars of transformation. The right plan, that's what to do. The right tools, it's how to do it. And the right support, that's having the right people in your corner, believing in you and helping you get to your pot of gold. All right. So, again, I call it my $2.7 billion proof. These are just what we call our client wall of fame. We've also got celebrities like Jenny McCarthy, Gary Vee, and on and on and on. And people we've helped to make a lot of money, but also have a lot of fulfillment. All right. So that is secret number 1. All right. So now let's get to secret number 2. All right. We're right on time here. Power habits cloning. How anyone can have better habits in the next 21 days, even if you don't believe in yourself, don't know where to start, and have failed in the past. All right. And why is this so important? Because information alone does not create change. Now, why is this true? Why is this statement true? Well, think about this, friends. Everybody wants to have more time, more energy, better relationships, and more money. Those 4 things I just showed you. So if you go on YouTube right now, you can find anything you want, right? How to make money online, how to become a millionaire, how to invest in crypto, how to, have 6-pack abs, how to have a happy relationship. I mean, anything you could possibly want. So if that's true, if everything is available for free on YouTube, why isn't everybody rich, happy, and thin, right? Why isn't everybody walking around with 6-pack abs? Why isn't everyone a millionaire? Because information alone doesn't create change, right? We need other things, not just information. So information is a starting point, but it's definitely not enough, right? We need things like support, encouragement, coaching, mentoring, accountability, right? And things like that, right? And just somebody in our corner helping us, right? So this is what I like to show people, my audiences and my client, when we work with private workshops or any of my virtual or live events, is what the real reason people get stuck. Now, everybody is in what right now, you and me and everybody is in our current perceived reality, or our CPR. That means you are where you think you are. You are who you think you are, and you have the limitations you think you have. All right. And so you want to get to what I call your NDR. That's your new desired reality. That's your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, right? But in between those, your CPR and your NDR, there's actually a gap. Now, amazingly, there are 4 types of gaps that we can have when it comes to going from where you are to where you want to be. The first gap is a knowledge gap. That means I don't know what to do. The second gap is a skills gap. That means I don't know how to get there. The third gap is a support gap. That means I don't have the right people in my corner helping me or supporting me, believing in me. And the fourth gap, which is by far the biggest gap, and the one that holds millions and millions of people back right now, holding millions of people back right now on this planet, is a belief gap. And the belief gap means, I don't think I can do it. Oh yeah, I want that thing. I want to have more time, more energy, better relationships, more money. Yeah, no, I want to have all that stuff you want, but I don't really think I can do it. Now, that may not be a conscious thought, right? In fact, it usually isn't. What I often like to say is nobody wakes up in the morning and says, wow, it's a beautiful day. You know what? I think I'll hold myself back from success today, right? Nobody would ever say that. Why? Because this is in the subconscious what we're talking about, many of this. So this is what I call getting rid of your head trash. Now, this is the second free gift I have for you. I mentioned that I'm going to have several free gifts for you. And here you can get it right here. You can claim your copy of one of my newest books called Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. That is that book right there. Okay. And you can claim your free copy at this website, sendmeabooknoah.com. Very easy to remember. Sendmeabooknoah.com. Now, I have covered the cost of the book, and we just ask you to cover the shipping. So, of course, we ship all over the United States and Canada and anywhere in the world. So sendmeabooknoah.com. And I will do that. I will send you a book. Okay. So that is that book called Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. Now, why is this so important? Well, because the one sentence you must never say again, if you want to reach your goals, if you want to have the time, energy, relationships, and money that you desire, is I can't do it because, right? If you think about it, what are the reasons that people don't do things? Well, because a big reason is they don't think they can do it, right? I just talked about knowledge gap, skills gap, support gap, and a belief gap, but the belief gap is the one that will keep you stuck. Why? Because if you keep saying, well, no, yeah, that all sounds great, but I can't do it because, well, I don't have the time right now. I can't do it because I'm too busy. I can't do it because I don't have the right support system, because I can't afford it. I don't have the money. Because my spouse won't let me do it, because I didn't go to the right college, or whatever it might be, right? We have a million excuses of why we can't do it. And guess what? You're going to make yourself right. Henry Ford had a great quote. He said, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right. But what I like to do, with all respect to Mr. Ford, I like to update that quote. I've updated that quote to say this: whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're going to make yourself right. So you're going to make yourself right, because we humans have an infinite capacity to make ourselves right. So if you keep saying, I can't do it because ... well, guess what? You're going to be right. You're going to make yourself right. So the question that I have for you today, friends, is what if all the limiting beliefs you've been telling yourself turned out to be lies? I'm going to take a sip of water here. Well, guess what? They are lies, right? I mean, saying that I can't do it because, it's really, you're lying to yourself, but it's a way to stay safe. That's why we do these things, okay? So think about this. How much is your head trash, if you have head trash, and most people have some, right? How much is it costing you? Lost time, lost opportunities, maybe procrastination, maybe lack of self-belief, lack of financial freedom, lack of happiness, fulfillment, right? I mean, it could be easily costing you $10,000, $25,000, $100,000 a month. It's very common with the people that I've worked with, my clients. I mean, people who I've helped to add 6 figures, 7, and even 8 figures, as you saw earlier, people on my wall of fame. So, I mean, this is not any exaggeration whatsoever. In fact, I'm probably underplaying it. But seriously, for most people that everybody that I've coached, it's costing you when you believe these thoughts that I call your head trash. So picture no longer holding yourself back from making more money, having the happiness, the fulfillment, letting go of the fear that's crippling so many people right now, and not feeling overwhelmed. or sacrificing your family, your friends, and your freedom. All right. So you too can finally live what we call that freedom lifestyle, but only when you get rid of your head trash, specifically about money. Go from, broke, unhappy guy, me on the left, to happy, smiling guy with beautiful wife on the right. Okay. So that is secret number 2. All right. So here we are. We're doing fine. The hourglass is filling up. So secret number 3, power habits acceleration. How to reach your life and business goals twice as fast with half the effort. And yes, it works for health and wellness too. Now, when we talk about habits, there are 4 levels of competency that we humans go through in order to master a habit. And they are, number 1, unconsciously incompetent. That means you don't know you don't know. Number 2 is consciously incompetent. That means you know you don't know. The 3rd level or stage is consciously competent. That is, you know. And finally, consciously or unconsciously competent, which is you do without thinking. So it's like driving a car, right? All of us, I'm sure, on this program or watching this right now know how to drive a car. But at one point, you actually had to go through all 4 of these phases. You started out with you didn't know how to drive a car. Then you knew you didn't know how to drive a car. Then you learned how to drive a car. You became consciously competent. You got a driver's license. And then, of course, now today, for most of us, you do without thinking. So it's that way with so many things in our life, right? We have literally dozens, maybe even hundreds of things that we do every day without thinking, but that we had to go through these 4 stages or 4 levels. But this, friends, is the number 1 hidden secret of the naturals. And what I mean by that, and this is after, studying these highly successful people for over 40 years now, is highly successful people are unconsciously competent at allowing themselves to succeed. That means that, again, I'll read that sentence again. I know that's kind of a mouthful, but they are unconsciously competent at allowing themselves to succeed. Now, what does that mean for you? It means 2 things. Number 1, the naturals are not holding themselves back from success. In other words, they don't have this head trash that I've been talking about. They just don't have it, at least when it comes to money and success. And therefore, how could they possibly teach you how to stop holding yourself back from success? Spoiler alert, they can't. All right, so think about it. If you've never done something and never done it in your entire life, how could you possibly teach how to do it? You can't, right? So that's one of the reasons why so many people hire me as their coach or go to my events, whether live events or bring me in to do workshops, after they've gone to all those gurus out there who can't really teach this. They can't teach it at all because they don't have any clue about what they're doing. They are unconsciously competent. And I know because I've interviewed over 150 of these, what I call the naturals or the 1%ers, and they are, in fact, unconsciously competent. And that's why I was chosen, if you'll forgive the phrase, chosen to teach this, because it took the nerdiest nerd in the industry, that's me, to quantify and systematize the power habits of unconsciously successful people. Because the naturals are unconsciously doing things that make their success automatic. So how many of you have read that book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, right? You're probably familiar with that work or read that work. It's a very famous work. And what Napoleon Hill did a century ago was he interviewed all these successful people. And he said, well, what do you do? How'd you become so successful? Well, you do this, 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 and this. Great. So how come millions of people, tens of millions, have read that book and didn't become successful? Because of all the stuff they left out. And they left it out, not because they were mean or something. They just didn't even realize they were doing it. So that's where many people, or that's why many people have said about my work, that my work starts where Napoleon Hill's left off. Okay. And so what was my total investment to learn all of this? Well, I had to spend over $500,000 going to all those gurus out there who can't teach their way out of a paper bag, and over 10 years of my life. So what this means for you, the great news for you, is you don't have to go through the pain, struggle, and heartache that I did. But only if you have the right plan, the right tools, and the right support. All right, so, I have an exercise here that I wanted to share with you, but just in the interest of time, I'll just briefly go through this. If you picture your life 12 months from now, what has to have happened for you to feel happy with your progress? All right, so if you project yourself forward 12 months from now, think about what it is that you really, really want, right? In terms of those 4 elements that I gave you of the freedom lifestyle, in terms of time, in terms of energy, in terms of relationships, and in terms of money. All right. And then what I often ask is, well, why don't you have it yet? In other words, if that's where you want to be, what's in the way? What are the gaps? Do you have a knowledge gap, a skills gap, a support gap, or a belief gap, or some combination of all of those. All right. In most cases, it's a combination. All right. So average thinking goes like this. Most people complain that things aren't going their way. They keep beating themselves up and find excuses for their lack of results. But what I like to call the 8-figure shift is, number one, get rid of your head trash about money. Number two, keep it simple. And number three, become an imperfect action taker. I'd much rather see you just take imperfect action rather than taking no action at all, waiting for things to be perfect. Okay. And we already went over that. Okay. So what would that do for you? What would that do for your family, your business, and your peace of mind right now? Right. So just imagine how amazing it will feel when you reach your goals, when you let yourself reach your goals faster and easier, so you can allow yourself to succeed to the level you're capable of while working less than you are right now. All right. So that's what many of my clients are enjoying. And in fact, remember Bill, who I introduced you to earlier, a real estate professional with a dream. He was sitting right where you are. He'd been to lots of different seminars. He was very skeptical. And, he decided to, work with me and hire me. And well, here's Bill's story in his own words.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bo White, and I've got a little story to tell. When I first met Noah, I was just getting started in commercial real estate. I knew I had to do something with my head trash, get rid of my subconscious self-limiting beliefs. Noah showed me the way. My career took off, and I'm now at the $200 million level, and we're working on multi-billion-dollar hotel deals and multi-billion-dollar portfolios as we speak. And I'm now a partner with a financial advisor to elite professional athletes, and it's been a great ride, and our success is directly because of what I learned from Noah. So if you have any sort of reservations, I'm here to tell you this works. The only regret I have is I didn't know about it sooner. And this is how success comes in a hurry, when you get your subconscious and your conscious working together. I'm now on the Wall of Fame in less than 3 years. Thanks again, Noah.
So doing multi-billion-dollar deals, that is not a typo. All right. So, in conclusion here, as we come to the conclusion of our time here together, and then we're going to be opening up for questions. Just a quick question for you. Is it ridiculous to think that just one thing I've taught you today could help you improve your life and your business, right? Maybe even by 5%, 10%, 20%, maybe, right? And if you want to let me know in the comments the one idea or technique you found most applicable to you. All right. Was it the 4 elements of the freedom lifestyle? Was it inner game and outer game? Was it unconscious competence, or the 4 levels of competency? Was it taking your freedom temperature? All right. So we already went over quite a bit here in the short time that we've had together. And if you apply just one technique that I've given you so far, I hope you get a positive ROI on just that one thing alone. Because again, I definitely value your time. I know that it's the most valuable resource that we have. In fact, time is the most valuable resource because, of course, it's the one resource we can never get back. All right. So now finally, my final thoughts here, how to turn today's information into lasting transformation. Because as I mentioned earlier, information alone does not create change. All right. So here's my final free gift for you today. You can get my new free training at powerhabits.com. Just if you go to that link, powerhabits.com, this is a free training that I shared with my mastermind group. And it is a free, online masterclass. So just go to powerhabits.com and you can get that free training right now. All right. And look at that. We are right on time. So we're just out of time here. This is my contact info. If you'd like to bring me in to speak for your group, just go to booknoah.com. You can also connect with Alex here. She's got all my contact info. Also my website, noahstjohn.com, and you can text me as well. All right. So I'm going to stop the share, and Alex will be coming back here. So here we are now, and I will stop sharing. And there we are.
Wonderful, Noah. Thank you so much for sharing, and also sharing your personal story and how you achieved so much success. We really appreciate that. So that was a lot to take, a lot of information. So yes. Please, everyone, post any of your questions now and I'll address them. But here are some questions. So the first is, so how do some people achieve so much success while others do not? Like, for instance, like my favorite, Oprah Winfrey and Bill Gates. Why can't we all be like them? I know you've addressed this, but I want you to kind of hone in a little bit more about it.
Absolutely, yes. So, I mean, everything comes down to that slide that I showed you on inner game and outer game. There's no way around that. So, if you think about life, right? You think about your life. It really just has those two elements. So the inner game is everything that happens up here. The great golfer Bobby Jones, of the Masters just happened. He was, of course, the founder, one of the founders of the Masters tournament. And he said, the game of golf is a great game that's played on a 6-inch course between your ears. Great quote. And so that's the point, is that, and Yogi Berra, the other great sporting philosopher, had a great quote. He said, 90% of this game is half mental. So anyway, the point is that that's really the game of life, isn't it? So it's really up here. So, when we talk about Bill Gates, when we talk about Oprah, certainly they have mastered that inner game to a very, very high degree. And I have found that working with my clients and helping them, add 6 figures, multiple 6, 7, and even 8 figures, that 80 to 90% of that work really is inner game. Now, I'm certainly not suggesting we don't need to work on our outer game, because of course we do, right? And that's, one of the things that we help our clients with as well, whether it comes to offers or funnels or traffic or whatever, all that outer game stuff. It's the stuff that's right in front of your face. But at the same time, when you look at inner game, I really believe that that's 80% of the game.
The inner game. Okay. It sounds kind of simple, right? Just saying like, I can do it, but it's really hard. I even hear it from, I have young boys, and you hear it from them being young, like, oh, I can't do it, or I'm not good enough.
That's right.
I guess, yeah,
well, I mean, if you think about it, Alex, I've written all these books on basically the same subject, which is how to get rid of your head trash, right? That voice that says, I can't do it. And remember, I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood. So I know, I'm like the poster child of that. I can't do it. And I didn't get into my real, long story. But, at the age of 25, I decided to commit suicide because I was so depressed. I was so frustrated with life. And I said, why am I here? I don't have any purpose. And at the very last moment, my life was spared. So, I do share that story in my books and so forth. But anyway, my point is that I know what it's like to go, I don't know why am I here? So when people come to me, and I'm certainly not suggesting people are, anywhere near that here on this, but, I've been there, and it's very painful, and it can, be very debilitating for people. But that really is a function of inner game.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So the people who are listening, most of them are highly successful. So why are some people doing well in one area? So maybe the people listening, or me, maybe I'm more successful in my career, but not with my family. So why do we, struggle in other areas and, and get stuck, as you said? Like, if I'm successful at work, should I be successful with my family? How come we have?
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, it doesn't work that way at all. I mean, it can, of course, but that's why I like to give you those 4 areas of the freedom lifestyle: time, energy, relationships, and money. So just a real quick story to illustrate the importance of relationships. My wife and I were on a trip. I took her on a VIP trip to the Grand Canyon, and it was just me and her, and then this older gentleman, just the 3 of us. And we had a helicopter, a plane, a bus, a boat. I think there was a goat involved. I mean, it was really awesome. Anyway, so at one point we were, kind of finishing up, and the older gentleman was there, and we were waiting to take our private plane back to Las Vegas, where we were staying. And I asked him, he was just by himself. And I said, so how long have you been waiting? And he said, well, I've been sitting here for about an hour. And I said, I thought to myself, I didn't say it out loud. I said, the Grand Canyon is right over here. Why would you sit here, for an hour? And I realized it was because he didn't have anyone to share it with. And I had my wife there, and I realized that having that special person there was the thing that made it special. If I'd just been sitting there looking at the Grand Canyon, remember that Chevy Chase movie, you go, hey, Grand Canyon. Okay. It's like, you know what I mean? And so that's what I mean. So I realized, wow, that just like hammered home the importance of, if you don't have that relationship. So that's why, there's an old saying that I'm sure we've all heard, which is what you focus on grows, right? So it's very easy that, take your spouse, for example, or your significant other, right? When you're dating and when you're first, everything's all, the endorphins, everything going, you're like, oh, and everything. But then after a few years, you're like, you start to take people for granted. It's just natural. So you have to work at it. It's work. Just like your job is, right. and people don't want to hear that. They're like, well, can't it just be? I'm like, well, that would be nice. But it's basically like saying, you know what, I'm going to have 6-pack abs. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat junk food and watch TV and never exercise. Okay, sounds great. No, it doesn't work that way. So just like anything, you have to work at your relationship, your job, your career, your business. It does take that work, that focused effort.
Okay.
And I don't know if I'm sorry, Alex, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Kevin has a question here. I don't know if you saw that. I just want to make sure we
Yes, Kevin Walsh. Thank you, Kevin.
Yeah.
So he says, at this time, I get distracted and go off plan seeking immediate gratification.
Right.
What additional tips do you have to keep energized and motivated to stick to your plans?
Okay, so yes, that's why I wanted to make sure we got that in. So here at our fingertips, Kevin and everybody, we have what I call the infinite distraction device, the IDD, right? Every single one of us has an infinite distraction device. That's what this device is. And the people who make those softwares, all social media, for example, they hire engineers to literally hack our brains so that you stay addicted to these different platforms. Okay. You know the ones I mean. And so the point is they want you to, they suck you in so they can show you ads so they make billions and trillions of dollars, right? So the point is that's just one example of getting distracted, right? So I'll give you another example. People ask me all the time, Alex, well, Noah, how did you write all these books? And I answer, by writing them. That's the answer, by shutting this damn thing off and cutting off the internet and focusing. Now, is that fun? No, it sucks. But then it's fun when you have the results. See, so that's an example of what I was talking about earlier about finding your why to. Finding your why to me means when you find your why, you find the way. Okay. And it always sucks. It always is not fun, right? What's fun is, hey man, but it's fun in a way and Kevin, I'm using Kevin's words now, immediate gratification, right? Mm-hmm. And that's, it's absolutely true in your brain. Yes, your brain's like, oh, isn't this fun? Meanwhile, your goals are going just down the drain somewhere. So the point is, you got to have maniacal focus like this. And I do this on purpose. I say, you put your blinders on. Now, that doesn't mean all you do is work all the time. I am the opposite of that. I'm not one of those hustle and grinders. Oh, work 18 hours a day. Hell no. Are you kidding me? I just talked about time, energy, relationship, some money. You have to have what I call goal-free zones. I teach that in my books like Power Habits and my online courses and in our coaching, meaning you've got to have time where you don't work, where you're not always goal setting, but what you want to do is work in 90-minute stretches where you do work, focus for 90 minutes, don't go on your phone, don't go on the internet, and then you take a break, right? Because you can't, the body can't work forever, at least most normal humans can't. Gary Vee is a friend of mine. He's like a mutant. So
oh my God, we love Gary Vee.
I love him too. He's a great guy, but I hung out with him for 2 days. People don't know this, but I hung out with him for 2 days. I hosted him when he was here in Northeast Ohio years ago. I literally said to him, you remember that movie Terminator 2 with, with Arnold Schwarzenegger? Yes, I turned to Gary at one time and I went like this. I said, are you a cyborg? What are you? I'm like, what? Yeah. I can't keep up with this. This is nuts. And so that's what I'm saying to everybody else. He's out there saying hustle and grind, hustle and grind. I'm like, dude, chill, will you? I'm like, that's fine for you, but I'd rather have.
I agree too, that balance. So you've been talking about all these books. I mentioned 15 books, 18 languages. You've given away a couple of free ones that they can go on to your site. What was it? Noah.
SendMeABookNoah.com.
Okay.
Send me a book, Noah.
Very clever. So I know it must be hard, but what's your favorite, or what do you recommend for the people who are listening, who are in the real estate industry, selling ultra luxury residences, selling the estates at Aqualina? Which book do you think would be most helpful?
I'll show you right here. So these are my two favorites. I got to be honest. Which is the one that I'm mentioning, Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. So that's SendMeABookNoah.com. And then this is my latest book called Power Habits, The New Science for Making Success Automatic. So this is at PowerHabitsBook.com, PowerHabitsBook.com. Okay. And yes, I have about 300 domains. I won't give you all of them. But anyway, PowerHabitsBook.com. And this is like frankly, my latest work, and some say, my greatest work. But anyway, so this is the Power Habit system right here on page 100. I mean, I know that's hard to see, but anyway, I walk you through the entire system. It's 11 habits that these naturals or unconsciously successful people do. And by the way, a lot of teams work with this book, and for those of you watching and listening, you can actually have me come in and like do a Q&A just like we're doing right now. If you want to have everybody reading the book, because I mean, as I said earlier, everything is inner game and outer game. And that's what I walk you through with these two books. So these would be the two that I would recommend. Send me a book, noah.com and powerhabitsbook.com. And again, remember, powerhabits.com is that free training I did. And
thank you. So this just came in from Jane Newbell. She said, I'm still using a few of your techniques years later. Thank you for changing my life and outlook. That's great.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jane. And Jane, make sure you write me. I mean, let's reconnect. It's been years, and let's reconnect again. And great to see you.
So how do we change our bad habits?
Yes, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I do talk about in the Power Habits book. It's right here. But I mean, very briefly, the most important thing not to do is use willpower. Okay, so this is the hugest mistake that I see people making, and it's right here on page 120, right there. My point is that what is willpower, right? Willpower is what the gurus teach, and they say, well, just grit your teeth and get through it, right? Just, and I'm like, okay, and that works for a short time. It does work for a short time, but the problem is you're not working with what the actual brain is. So, or what I should say, what an actual habit is. So a habit is 5 steps, and I'll get through them. I know we have just a little time, but very briefly, it's a cue, routine, reward, craving, and belief. Now, what that means is the cue is what happens in your life that triggers the habit. Then you have a routine, which is what do you do? Then you have the cue, routine, the craving. Wait a minute. Oh, gosh darn it. I got so excited. I messed it up. Cue, routine, reward. Thank you. Reward. Jeez. The reward is in the brain. All right. The reward happens in the brain. So if you think about, I'll give you an example. Think about chocolate chip cookies, right? Everybody think about chocolate chip cookies.
I make very good chocolate chip cookies.
Right. Exactly. What just happened to your brain? Your brain literally went, ooh, where's the cookies? Where's the cookies? Right. Because you know why? Because you have a reward center in the brain that says, ooh, I like chocolate chip cookies. Give me some, right? And so if I were to say, okay, now think about chocolate cookies, but you can't have any. And now your brain's like, what? What are you trying to do to me, right? And so imagine, even worse, put a plate of chocolate chip cookies right there and say, okay, now you can't have any.
Right.
Oh my God, are you going to drive yourself insane? You see what I mean? So that's what willpower is like. It doesn't work. I mean, again, it worked maybe a short time, maybe a couple minutes or whatever, but it doesn't really work long time. So the point is, when we have a bad habit, let's just take the classic bad habit, which is procrastination, right? That's the classic one that everybody says to me, Noah, how can I break procrastination? So if you think about what that habit actually is, what it is now notice this, everybody, procrastination isn't just not doing something. It's not doing something you know would be good for you. Isn't that interesting, right? It's not just not doing something, right? It's not doing what you know would be good for you or what you should be doing, right? Like, whatever it might be. I mean, there's a million examples, right? So the point is, why do you do that? Well, because the brain has a craving for safety. That's the 4th stage. So the cue, routine, reward, craving. The craving actually is safety, meaning your brain's job, the one back here, the ancient brain I'm pointing to, not like the frontal cortex, which is where communication happens, but I'm talking about the ancient brain back here, which is often called the croc brain, the lizard brain, whatever you want to call it. My point is, its basic job is to keep you not dead, right? So, hey, I'm not dead, it says your brain. And that means, it doesn't care how much money you have. It doesn't care if you, lose all your relationships. It's like saying, hey, I'm not dead, so you're welcome. Right. And so you're trying to change that brain with this, it's not going to work. Right. So that's why with procrastination, that's why we've got to use things. Well, I mean, quite frankly, that's why I invented Power Habits, so that you go in there and you actually hack your habits. And the way that you do that is you got the cue, the routine. You actually just change the routine. So just take the thing you're not doing, just do it for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Just do it. Right. And you know what you're going to find. And I still fight this. I'm like, oh, I got to do this. I got to do this presentation, or I got to make this webinar, or whatever it is. Right. And I fight it and fight it. And I go, will you just take 5 minutes? And finally I did it. I'm like, what was all that fighting about?
I know. And you feel so good after.
It's right. It's all done. And then so that way you can replace that, with a better routine. And frankly, the 5th element is a belief. And you can hack your beliefs using my Power Habits system.
Okay.
So it really is hacking these.
I have another question, and then we're going to give away the personal session with you to this one.
Right, awesome.
So you talked about the power of unconscious competence. And I loved how you're saying it's like driving a car. So how do we get to that? Reinforce it. How do these people, these brokers listening, they want to sell the $59 million penthouse at the estates at Aquilina. So
Totally.
How
Right. So the first step is to understand where you are. What stage are you at? Right. So probably you're not at unconscious incompetence, because that would mean you don't even know. You don't know, right? So that you're probably not there. So then you might be at the conscious incompetence, which is, shoot, I don't know how to do this, right? Meaning, oh, I've never done it before. Now, that's where we all are when it comes to walking, riding a bike, speaking, listening, right? There's dozens of things every day that we had to go through these stages, as I mentioned, right? So you go, okay, well, I've never done it before, so I don't know how to do it. But is that really true? Or is it just that you haven't done it before? Right. So maybe you know how to do it, but maybe you have that belief gap, for example. Right. So that would probably be true. Right. You have the belief gap that says, oh, man, that's so expensive. I don't know if I could do it. Oh, man. And, okay, you can do it. Oh, she's better than me, or he's better than me. And see what all this head trash. It's trash. See. And so then you just have to, then you get to the point of conscious competence, which is, okay, I don't know, but I've got to take that leap of faith. I've got to take a step. And I'll give you a perfect example for everybody. This mansion that I just bought, right? I'd never bought a mansion before. Beautiful. Well, thank you. And I mean, I never bought a mansion. This literally, I'm not kidding you. And I've been teaching this for 20 years. This is better than anything I even projected in my mind, this house. And it just happened like less than 120 days ago. It just happened to me. I found it and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I was like, can I do it? And I didn't even, you know what I did? I tell all my clients to do this. I say, let your actions change your beliefs. Because what a lot of people mistakenly believe, because that's what the gurus say, a lot of them is, well, you got to change your beliefs and then change your habits. Bull. No, you change your habits and then your beliefs will catch up. Those of you who are, again, I'm using a golf analogy because I know a lot of you maybe golfers or golf fans, but the Masters that just happened, Bubba Watson won several years ago. And I remember this interview, and I use this quote all the time. Bubba Watson was interviewed by Jim Nantz of CBS, and Jim Nantz asked him, he just won the Masters. And he said, so Bubba, was this like you would imagine it would be? And Bubba had this great quote. He said, I don't know, Jim, I never got this far in my dreams. And I was like, you see, he didn't actually believe it. He just did it. And that's what I did with this house. I went through all the steps. I didn't even really believe I was going to get it. And then I got it. And I'm like, okay. And then I was like, come on, beliefs, let's go. You see what I mean? So you got to take the action, just have that leap of faith.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. So if you're in the market for a condo in Miami, come to the Estates at Aquilina. There's some great programs.
I would love that.
But just one last question before we give the personal coaching session. This is in from Laura Ziccarelli. How do you change your reality when you do not have support? Sometimes it's hard to make changes by
Absolutely. Laura, great question. I hear this all the time also. I will say this, you've got to get the support. I have never seen it happen. And I mean, ever in over 20 years, I've never seen someone able to make changes without some kind of support. You know, whether you hire a coach, whether you have a mentor, or you have your spouse, your significant other, or a group of friends or whatever it might be. I've never seen it happen where you don't get the support. And I mean, again, this is a great place to start. You know, get my free book. This is a de facto support. You know, this will like give you some of the steps to start, right? Or power habits, or watch my free trainings that I get. Again, I tried to give you a lot of free stuff today, you know, free well, you know, why not? And so that's a great place to start. But I will say, again, for Laura, for anybody who might be asking this question as well, you've got to get it. I know that many people don't have it right now. And I understand that because I've been there. I know that's like the first 40 years of my life, I didn't have any support. I had to do it myself, and it was really, really hard. I actually never broke six figures. And then when I met my wife in 2007, now I've never been below six figures. Now we're 6 and 7 figures and multi-7 figures. See what I mean? So that's what it took for me. And I've also seen it for really 100% of the people that I've worked with over the years. Yeah. So it's just crucial. It's crucial.
Thank you for sharing. So now we are going to give away one personal coaching session. Let's see who is the winner. I think it might, drum roll. Yes, thank you. There's just one winner, and it is Elena Cruz. So congratulations, Elena.
The crowd goes wild.
So we will reach out. I just put her in the chat. That's wonderful. Elena, we'll reach out to you and connect you with Noah. So you'll be hearing from me soon. So congratulations. Thank you for everybody else joining us. We appreciate your support. I learned a lot. I'm sure they all did. We got wonderful comments.
Oh,
Alina says, thank you. She's
she
hot.
is. All right. Awesome.
Leo said, great to watch. I appreciate it. Thank you. He's in San Francisco. So we have people from all over.
All right, Leo. Great. Awesome.
Yes,
Very
very
excited.
excited, Alina. So anyway, so thank you again, Noah. It was such a treat to have you. We hope to have you on in the future because we host AcquaTalks every month. So thank you again for your words of wisdom, a lot of things that are actionable. And I will definitely get a free copy of your book. So thank you for offering it. And to everyone else, thank you for joining us. And we will see you next month for AcquaTalks. Have a great day.